Alright, hello YouTube. This will be my first educational video. I will be educating people on what scientists have been trying to find for years. A singularity. And I'm going to explain to you what it is and reveal it to you through impeccable logic. And my name is David Goodpasture. David Joseph Goodpasture. You can find me on Facebook, and you can look up this section that I'll be reading to you in my notes if you're interested. Feel free to message me if you want and ask me questions or debate my logic. So I will be sharing with you today the dichotomy of the immeasurable singularity, the logical maxim of material interconnectivity, a logical transcript on the argument of assertion et al., and this is in developmental phase because I am still working on it. It is a construction in process. First off, the first section I'll be reading to you is the meaning of an immeasurable singularity. Okay, I devised the phrase immeasurable singularity for the following reason. An eternal volume of space and time would leave no room and no time for another eternity to simultaneously exist. Got it, okay? In material logic, it would be a fallacy for two eternities to coexist. One eternity would be all of space and all of time that has, will, and does exist. Past, present, and future, anywhere and everywhere that time and space is. Ergo, which means thus, eternity has no beginning and no ending. It is immeasurable. The introduction of the dichotomy, and a dichotomy is like two things that exist as one, okay, or one thing that exists as two, vice versa. Kind of works both ways, you know. It's kind of like partly cloudy and mostly sunny. Same thing. The introduction of the dichotomy is not that two eternities exist, but rather that the concept of immeasurableness applies to two seeming opposites, those being eternity and nothingness. They're opposites, right? Eternity and nothingness. Not so quick. This will be clearly revealed in the following examples and definitions. The following section here is the immeasurableness of nothing. Excuse my English, but immeasurableness is not technically a word. Why not? It is now, okay? Can't find anything else that would fit what I want to explain it as except for immeasurableness. Okay? A volume of no space and thus no time has no beginning and no ending. Therefore, it cannot be measured in totality, and hence, as a consequence, it is immeasurable. In this context, we cannot measure that which does not exist. I will refer to this as nothing or nothingness, all variances of the word nothing and absence. Okay? Now, the next section, explaining the commonality of eternity and nothingness. Here's their commonality. Remember, they're supposed to be complete opposites. Not so quick. The concepts of both eternity and absolute absence cannot be measured in totality. Eternity because it has no beginning and no end, thus no points at which to measure the totality of such a thing should it exist. Yeah, you can't measure something in totality if it has no beginning and no end. So if you measure something totally, that means it's finite. You know the beginning and the end. You've completely measured it. Something that has no beginning and no end, you'll never be able to measure the whole thing, no matter how long you live, even if you live forever. Okay? Okay? Eternity, because it has no beginning and no end, like I just explained, thus no points at which to measure the totality of such a thing should it exist, and nothingness, because it too has no beginning, nor does it have an ending. Think about that. Neither does nothingness, because it doesn't exist, so it has no beginning and no end. Henceforth, the identical conclusion of immeasurability applies to its concept as well. So now we see that they both share something in common. They're both immeasurable, no beginning and no ending. So now how do you decipher which one's which? Stay with me. Eternity and absence are immeasurable. Now we understand their logical commonality. Got it? Defining the material interconnectivity. That will be the next section. Because absence does not and cannot materially exist, then it follows that no space of absence can come between any two objects. So absence also acts as the concept that connects all things, whereas simultaneously eternity serves the same purpose. Now I'm going to tell you why, for all you laymen and laywomen out there. Easy to understand that absence would be the concept that connects all things, because you can't have nothingness. Therefore, if you think about it, it's like, well, then all things must be connected. There can't be absence between me and the computer screen, because absence doesn't exist. It's nothingness. Now I'm going to tell you why eternity serves that same purpose, okay? Because all material things are forms of energy. Okay, new energy cannot be created, and existing energy cannot be destroyed. Therefore, it is eternal. If you can't create something, and it's already here, and you also can't destroy it, well, that means it's eternal. It can't be created, it can't be destroyed, and it exists. That means it's always existed. It's eternal, okay? Now, you could see this mouse's energy, okay? You can't destroy it. You can melt it down. It will undergo a chemical transmogrification or transformation. It will be melted down into a different form. The plastic will, pool out into a puddle of plastic, and some of it will turn into smoke and chemicals and vapors and go up into the air. But you have not destroyed the material here. That is the mouse. You've just changed its form, and that's what happens with everything in the physical universe. It just changes form. It is not destroyed. Energy can be harnessed. It can be changed. The shapes can be changed or destroyed, but the actual energy cannot. It will always be here. What that mouse is will always be here, even if it in a trillion years ends up in where Mars is. So, we understand that now eternity connects all things, and therefore all things must be connected and eternal. Like I said, connected and eternal refers to the pure essence of energy, not the shapes of things. It doesn't mean that my body is eternal. It means that all the atoms and molecules and basic essence, the foundation of energy that my body is, will not be destroyed. I will change form and my body will die. and I'm not even going to get into souls, okay? Mathematical implications, because I don't believe in souls. It's a belief. In mathematics, I would identify both eternity and absence as the number 0. If we insert this into any mathematical equation, it either has no effect, or it causes the value of the solution to become empty and or null. Hence, we cannot invoke the eternal God, nor can we inject false data sets into scientific procedures, i.e., substituting in make-believe information into the place of an absence of evidence or missing variables. Additionally, the concept of eternity also has a place with the idea of the number 1 and the number 0. Since there can only be one eternity, remember we went over this, because it would be everything everywhere, you can't have two of those because, well, you'd be deceiving yourself, because it would actually also be the second one, because one eternity is everything everywhere. No beginning, no end. It encompasses all space and time, everything everywhere. Okay. So, the concept of eternity has a place with the idea of the number 1 and the number 0. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. Since there can only be one eternity, then eternity can be thought of as simultaneously 0 and 1. 0 because it's immeasurable, no beginning and no end. That's what 0 is. And 1 because it's singular. There can only be one. You sticking with me? Anybody know what that means? The numbers 0 and 1? What does that signify? If you figured it out already, you're pretty smart, but I'm going to tell you why right now. The universal language that represents the symbolically mathematical display of the immeasurable singularity can then be understood as binary. Binary is a system that consists of 0 and 1, and that's exactly the essence of what energy is. So that would be the language of the universe, or God if you're a pantheist, or a physical materialist. Now, I'm going to get into the immovable object is the unstoppable force. That will be my next video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it taught you something. Peace out. I hope I get some followers and some fans. because I will continue to come at you with truth and knowledge that you've never heard of and you've never seen before, because I am completely original and I will change the way the world thinks. Peace out.